Hello, everyone, and welcome to your November guidance lesson. I hope that you all have had an awesome month and that if you do celebrate Thanksgiving, that you had a great Thanksgiving. And as you all should know, our big idea for November has been gratitude. And gratitude is showing someone that you are thankful for them in some way. It could be writing them a thank you letter or as simple as just saying thank you when they do something for you. So I hope that you guys have had an opportunity to say thank you to someone who does a lot of things for you or just small things for you every day. If you haven't, it is never too late. You can always say thank you to somebody who means a lot to you or who does a lot of things for you. So make sure that you take the opportunity at some point to say thank you to somebody around you. Now, moving forward, our lesson today is not about gratitude. It's about something totally different. Our lesson today is about self-control. Now, I know that sometimes that Mrs. Dix has a hard time with self-control. Everybody has a hard time with self-control sometimes. So we're going to talk about some ways that we can stop, think, and then act today. And I promise you that if you start to do these 3 steps, that things will look a whole lot better for you and we will begin to make awesome choices more often. So let's back up just a little bit. Self-control. I want you to think real quick, what is self-control? Well, self-control means control over yourself, right? But there's 3 different things that I think of whenever I think of myself. So the first thing is to have self-control, you have to show control over your body. Okay, so that means kicking, hitting, anything like that. Is that having self-control over your body? No. So when you show control over your body, you are showing that you have self-control. The second part of yourself are your actions. Okay, so the things that you do every day. So let's say that you have a very messy room and you don't clean it up when your guardian asks you to clean it up. Are you showing good self-control over your actions? Are you doing what you are supposed to do? If the answer is yes, then you are showing good self-control. But if it's no, that's something that we know that we need to work on. And then the third part of having control over yourself, can anyone guess it? It comes out of your mouth. It's your words. And this is perhaps my favorite one that I like to talk about because our words mean a lot. They carry a lot of weight. It means that they matter. Your words matter. And so that is definitely something that we have to show control over because if we don't have control over our words, we might accidentally be hurting someone else's feelings with our words. Okay? So now we know that the 3 parts of self-control that we have to have control over are our body, our actions, and our words. Good job. But there's also a big secret. And this is probably a really good secret that you want to know. There are also 3 steps to showing self-control. And if you take the time to learn these 3 steps, your life is about to get a whole lot better because you will be making awesome choices. Our 3 steps to self-control are step 1, to stop. It means to stop what you are doing, okay? Step 2 is you have to think. Good job. Yes, you have to think. You have to ask yourself, is what I'm doing, is this going to make things better Or is this going to make things worse? If it's going to make things worse, do we need to continue to do it? No. But if it's going to make things better, could we continue to do it? Yeah. All right, so step 1 was to stop. Step 2 was to think. Step 3, and our last step, is to act. So if you decided on step 2 that your choices and what you are about to do are a good thing, then you may act, okay? So here's the example I like to give. If you hurt someone's feelings and you think, you stop, and then you think, you say, I need to apologize. Then you may act and you may apologize. But if you stop and you think and you say, oh, I'm just still so mad at them, I want to go hurt their feelings even more. Do you need to act? Not yet, okay? So these are our 3 steps. We'll go over the whole thing one more time. When we show self-control, we have control over our bodies, our actions, and our words. Good job. And then the 3 steps of self-control are to stop, think, act. Good job. Yes, and if you can get these 3 steps down, you will be A-okay. Now, there is an exercise that we would usually do if you were in this classroom with me, but you're not. But I still want to tell you about it because I like to think that most of you might have some bubbles even at home. Now, if you don't have bubbles at home, you could maybe ask your parents or whoever you live with if you could go buy some. Here is what we do with the bubbles. The bubbles are kind of like a test to see if you can have self-control over your body. And what you do is you can sit in the floor and have somebody in your family or at home to stand there and blow bubbles like this over your head. And you're sitting and you let the bubbles fall, okay? But here's the trick. Your instinct, what you're going to want to do is to pop those bubbles or to flinch or to dodge them, right? You can't do that. The challenge is to have self-control over your body. So the challenge is to not pop them. You can't dodge them or move or anything like that. You have to stay completely still. So even if one lands on your nose, you are not allowed to pop it. You have to let it sit there. Even if one lands right on your noggin, you are not allowed to move. You have to sit there. Here's what I will say. If you feel like a bubble is going to pop in your eyeball, you should probably do what? Close your eyeballs, okay? I don't want anybody's eyeballs burning because they got bubbles in them. But all the rest of the things, you have to stay completely still. So one more time, like I say, you just grab some bubbles, if I can get the thing out, and you have somebody stand over you and blow bubbles all around you, and you have to stay completely still. If you are able to stay completely still, congratulations, you have self-control over your body. And if you can't, then we know that we have to work on our self-control just a little bit. But that's a nice little challenge that I like to do with our kiddos here at school. And I definitely think that you can do that at home just for fun and to see if we have self-control over our bodies. Now, one more thing that we are going to do while we are on this video is I'm going to give you all a bunch of different examples of self-control versus not self-control, okay? And we are going to write them on our board. Now, I'm going to make 2 different columns. I'm going to have one for self-control. I'm going to have one for no self-control. Let's see if you can see that. I might scooch it just a little closer. How about that? A little better? All right, so I'm going to give you an example. Most of the time, whenever we make bad choices, it's because we have a very strong feeling of some kind. So I want you to think back to a time that you've made a bad choice. Maybe one day somebody stole something of yours, so you decided that you were going to kick them. Okay? Well, let's think. How was I feeling whenever I kicked them? Was I feeling a very strong feeling? Probably. You were probably feeling very mad or very upset or very frustrated because they took something of yours. And that is why you acted in the way that you did. But if you had stopped and then thought and then acted, would you have done it the same way or would you have done it differently? That is showing self-control. So that's what we're going to go over. We're going to go over 3 examples of big feelings that we have sometimes. The first thing I think of is, you got to put your thinking caps on for this first. So take your thinking cap, put it on real tight, crank it all the way up. I want you to imagine that you are so very excited, okay? You are so very excited because you found out that for Christmas, your Santa Claus or your family have decided that they got you some concert tickets to your favorite band or singer ever. And so what you decided you were going to do is in the middle of class, you stand up and you say, "Hey everybody, I have concert tickets to my favorite band." And you interrupt class to tell everybody about your exciting tickets. Is that showing self-control or is that showing no self-control? Right, I would say no self-control. And here's why. You blurted out in class. And that interrupted your teacher. I'm not sure if interrupt has 1 R or 2, but we're going to leave it with 1. Let's pretend the same thing has happened, and you are so very excited still. But this time, you decide to wait until a good time to tell all of your friends the exciting news, not in the middle of the lesson. What do you think? Self-control or no self-control? I would say self-control. And I want you to think really quickly, when would be a good time to tell your friends that exciting news if you were at school? Maybe when you're outside at recess, if you're at lunch. And my virtual learners, if you are at home right now, a good time would be when you are not doing your schoolwork, right? Good job. So I will write, wait until recess or lunch to talk. All right, let's move on to our next example. Our next example is, you are so very mad, okay? And you're so very mad because somebody at home has taken your favorite toy and they didn't even ask and they are not giving it back to you. So what you decided you were going to do is you are going to kick them and snatch it back from them. Self-control or no self-control? No self-control is correct because what you just did was you kicked somebody, and that is never okay, right? So, but what is something that we could have done? Because we are still mad. We are still very upset because they didn't ask permission and they're not giving it back to you. Let's pretend the same thing, but this time we decided to tell an adult our problem. Self-control, right? Let's pretend that you've already asked nicely. You asked nicely for it back, but they said no, and they were keeping a hold of it. Then you could tell an adult. Good job. Because if you tell an adult and they help you out with your problem, are you going to end up in trouble? No. So tell an adult. Here is our last example. Today we are so frustrated, okay? And you are so frustrated because your parents or whoever you live with have cooked you a dinner that you don't like. Let's pretend it's meatloaf. Oh man, not the meatloaf. They've made you meatloaf tonight, but you know that if you finish your dinner that you get ice cream for dessert. So you tough it out and you eat all of your dinner and you are so excited and you go to the freezer to get that ice cream out. And guess what? You don't have any ice cream. And so you slam the freezer shut, you go to your room and you slam the door. Did we show self-control or did we not show self-control? I would say we did not show self-control because we slammed 2 doors, okay? We slammed 2 doors and we were disrespectful to whoever we live with, right? So I'm going to put slamming doors. And having an attitude. Both of these things are not really showing good self-control. I know it can be really hard because you were excited for the ice cream, but what could you do instead? Let's think. If you were upset, you really wanted that ice cream, but you decided that you were going to have patience and you were going to ask your parents or whoever you live with, can we go to the grocery store tomorrow and go grab some ice cream? Which one? Self-control or no self-control? I would say self-control because you're showing respect. You're having patience. And you're asking nicely. All right, so do we see the difference between self-control and not self-control? It can be really hard sometimes, but if we do these 3 steps before making any decision, if we stop, we think, we ask ourselves, is this going to help me or is this going to make things worse? And if it's going to make things worse, we don't do it. But if it's going to make things better, then our step 3 is to act. Good job. Yes. Now, our last thing that I would ask you all to do while you're at home is I'm going to attach this worksheet as a PDF. Okay, that means you can click on it, you can print it, you can fill it out. Okay, now as always, you don't have to send these back to me. Of course, I love it whenever I do get work back from you guys. It makes me very, very happy to see that you guys are learning these important things even at home. So this will be underneath our video here. for you guys to print off and to send back to me. Other than that, that is all I had for this lesson. And I want you all to look out for your December video that's going to be coming up very soon. I want you all to know that we miss you and we love you, and we hope that you guys are doing awesome at home, and that if you need anything at all, you can always reach out to me or your teachers for help. I hope you guys stay safe at home, and I hope you had an awesome Thanksgiving break.